Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the world. It's time for a Christmas card and it's another 3 weeks before Christmas, but you still got time to make some and get them in the post. And this is an idea that I have for you, and it's just a slightly fancy fold or fun fold. I think they call it a book binded fold, but basically this edge has kind of been stuck down and you've got like a smaller piece to write, but it's just another fold. So I have done heat embossing on this one. I've featured the Happy Holidays stamp set, and I wanted to use this little bird, and I thought it would look quite fun to be heat embossed. And if you look, I've also heat embossed my greeting down here. And then I've used an embossing folder as well. So I'm going to use this video to really just show you some embossing techniques as well as this fold to create your cards. Okay, I'm going to start by doing my embossing, and I've basically got two pieces. Now my real red piece is 2.5 by 3.25, and then this piece, this is soft succulent and it's 4 by 4. I'm going to be using gold embossing powder and my Versamark pad. Now if you've not come across Versamark before, it's basically a very it's a clear but very sticky ink, which allows your embossing powder to stick before you go ahead and melt it with your heat gun. Right, so we're going to put our little guy in here. There, and you can just see it's kind of got a watermark. Just makes the card look a little bit darker. But we're gonna sprinkle some embossing powder. This is gold embossing powder, and I just give it a little tap, and then I have a look to see if there's any bits that are sort of left on the card without where they shouldn't be, and use a soft brush, and this is looking good. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my my greeting before I set the heat gun going. So this is my Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas is an expression that we use a lot in the UK. Merry Christmas is not our, if you like, usual greeting, but this year I'm using my Happy Christmas. And again, you can see that it's just a little bit darker. So we're going to go ahead and put our embossing powder, and then I like to just give it a tap on the back, and that loosens any bits that shouldn't be there, and then I could go ahead and use my little brush. Now I always keep my embossing powders in these containers. The reason is that it gives you plenty of working space, and I can always tap it back in without it going all over my work surface, and I don't have to worry about pouring it back into a pot between times. So pop my lid back on there, and I've got my heat gun. It takes a few moments to warm up. You want to keep your fingers well away, because this gets very hot, and you don't want to damage you'll burn yourself. And you're looking for the dull color to turn nice and shiny, and you can see it's going beautifully there. Whenever I introduce heat embossing to people for the first time, I think it's what sells them on heat embossing, because it is just like magic. Okay, just hold it there for a few minutes, and basically what's happening here is it is melting. into your sticky sticky ink. So you know if it's cooked properly, if you've got nice and shiny. If it's dull here, you know you need to go make sure that you've heat embossed every little bit. And I like to just leave it to set for a few moments. It only takes a moment or two to dry, but it will smudge if you touch it too quickly. Once we've got those bits done, I ran this piece through my cut and emboss machine with the Merry Melody embossing folder. This has got some lovely music notes on, and to make sure that I put it the right way in, which basically means that the image is pushed up in the card rather than sort of going down. If you see this Stampin' Up logo here, if that is to the front and you put in your piece of card so that you can see the greeting, you'll know it's the right way round. And they've even put a little handy dandy line there that you can just line it up with and then pop it through your embossing machine. So I already did one rather than haul my embossing machine up here. So there's my piece there. Right, so we're going to go ahead and just finish the assembly. Now, those of you who follow me know I do like to use liquid adhesive on my cards. And part of that reason is that when I'm doing a card with a very fine border, like this one, this is very vanilla, and I've cut this 1/4 of an inch larger. Sorry, I misspeak. 1/8 of an inch larger than my piece of red, which gives me a 1/16 inch border. And by using liquid glue, I find it just easier to smoosh it around if I haven't quite got my borders even. So there's that piece there, ready to go. And then I've got some designer series paper, and I've actually used the Tidings of Christmas paper, and you get lots of designs here. And I've cut this 4 inches by 1 inch. So that's that piece. So I've got those pieces. And then I have my piece that's going to go inside my card. This is the bit you're going to write "To You, Love from Me" on. And this is 4 by 4 as well. So those are my pieces. My card base is 11 by 4 1/4. And this is Evening Evergreen. And I've scored this at 5 1/2 and at 6 1/4. So that gives me a 1 1/4 inch space here. I'm going to fold it in half. And then this piece, this score line here, I'm going to fold that back on itself like that. And this is creating the book fold there. And then I'm going to use my double-sided tear and tape because this is a bit stronger than regular adhesive. And this card will be put under a bit of stress as it's opened and closed. So we're just going to put that there. And where's my little tool? Disappeared, as everything does just when you need it. So we're just going to remove the backing off of the tape and then just fold it down, press real firmly, and then you've got your book fold. So my 4 by 4 piece, I'm going to attach in the middle. All I did with this one is to decorate it with some crumb cake ink using the holly leaf stamp. like that. And now we can move on to the front. This piece I'm going to again just use my liquid adhesive. So this is going to just be flat onto the card. And we're just going to put that centered on the bit that isn't, or the bit that folds back. If you can just see what I mean then. And then I've got my strips of paper. Now, I could use the back if you wanted a more muted effect, like that. But I'm going to go ahead and use the bright and decorated front part. As I said, this is 1 inch by 4. So this is why this panel here is 1 1/4 inches. It just gives you a 1/8 inch border all round. All right. Then I've got my cute little bird here, and I'm going to attach him with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So 1 on each corner and 1 in the middle. Take the backing off. And I'm going to center this on the 4x4 panel. There, you can see the embossing that we've got here, and you can still read the greeting nicely, even though we've put some embossing on there. My bling, or my additional bling, is the Wonderful Gems. Now this comes with some red and that's like flecked with gold, and then these clear ones that are flecked with gold. You can see I've used all the red ones up, so we're going to go ahead and just use the clear ones. There's my tool. I knew it would appear. So I'm going to use my little tool here. This has got some putty on the end, and it allows me to just pick up one of my jewels and pop it down on the card. And then I have my double stitched satin ribbon. This is real red as well, and I tied a bow. I do have a video on how I tie my ribbon bows, and if you look below this video, you'll see a link to my blog, and it will take you to my post on this particular card, and there will also be a link to my video on how I tie my bows. So this is really a really pretty card, and I just love it. I also went ahead and just stamped my envelope with the same holly leaf as I popped inside my card there. So that's one way of doing this card. Now, if you're not into heat embossing, I also did one that is exactly the same, except I've used vanilla on my background. I haven't used any heat embossing, but what I have done is I've just used inks. Everything else is the same. And then the little birdie, I coloured him in, or her, with Stampin' Blends. And the ones I used are, this is the light smoky slate. No, I didn't use smoky slate. That's a lie. I used grey granite. That's the one I used. I also used the Flirty Flamingo to give his little bit of a red chest, and then I used the ivory on the bottom part. So this is grey granite, ivory with Flirty Flamingo on there, and you can see I've used the same jewels here. And just to give him a bit more of a pop, I just coloured him over with my Wink of Stella, which is a liquid glitter. and it just takes a few moments to dry, and it gives a really lovely shimmer to your projects. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this card that I've shared with you today. If you check below this video, there will be a link to the blog post, and it will give you the dimensions as well as the supplies that I used for these cards. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd certainly appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will find that there's nearly 300 videos at this time, and then if you subscribe each time I publish one, then you will get notification. Thank you for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye for now.